Welcome, Rocket football fans. We are ready for Week 10. Coach Thompson, we're 8-1 going into this game, and I know you want to finish at 9-1 and tie the school record for most wins in the season, and you've already become the winningest first-year coach in history. And I know this one will be a little icing on the cake, be 9-1 and match some of those great teams.
Yeah, you know, for us, it's just being 1-0 again this week. I know you're one of those stat guys. I don't think about it that way. So I just want to continue. I want to finish out the year. I want to go 1-0 this week, and I want the seniors to have a good, memorable senior night. So I want it to be one where we go out and we handle business start to finish, and they all have an opportunity to say that they went out on top.
Well, it's going to be a good senior night. I can tell by the way the moms on Facebook this week have been planting a lot of pictures out there of the kids as they were growing up, and those are pretty interesting. If you hadn't been on Facebook, go check out some of the moms' sites, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, for me, I was happy to see that because I felt like at the beginning of the year you was trying to embarrass me on this show a little bit by going and reaching out to some of my family. So to see their family get them too, I feel like it's even now, and I don't have to get them at practice or anything. So we're good.
We always want to dig into people's past and show who they are, right?
Yeah.
Well, the last time we were 9-1 was 1999. It's only been done 4 times in school history. One of those was in 1985 en route to a state championship. And Coach Thompson, I know everybody's talking about it because, but the road is long and narrow.
Yeah, it's a difficult task, but it's one that it's a challenge that we feel like we're up to. You know, we didn't want to run around talking about what our ultimate goal was. We broke it down week by week, and you've heard me say over and over 1-0. But ultimately, we wanted to make a run at it, and that's still the goal. And we're going to make sure that every week that we go out and prepare, like that's what we're trying to get to. And, you know, I like that people are talking about it and believing that it's a possibility as long as the kids continue to work for it and not think it's just something that's going to be handed to them.
Sure.
So, you know, that is the ultimate goal. And I feel like for a lot of teams it is every year. But for us, that's the first thing we talked about this year as we met all the way back in April, you know. So it's something that we really believe that we have an opportunity at doing if we do our job every day.
Well, I know many of the guys are on this team and around this team in school now. Their fathers played on that team in 1985. And, you know, I wanted to wear my Tony O'Neill throwback hat today, too, just to signify the fact that we do remember those guys and looking for another one this year. But again, the playoffs start not this week. We'll have our final home regular season game against Hopkins Central. But then the playoff pairings are set, and in the first round, Crittenden County will host Caverna. I'm going to scroll these other playoff matchups from the first region. Fulton County will be at Bethlehem, Fort Knox at Russellville, and Campbellsville does get that bye, Coach. We knew Fulton City probably wouldn't play that one, and indeed they're not.
Yeah. And then, you know, for Campbellsville, that might be a good thing for them to get out and be able to travel and check some teams out and not worry about injuries, you know.
That's exactly what we need is Campbellsville not to have to worry about something in 1 week of the playoffs.
It's not what we want, but, you know, when you get that situation. But the one to me is Fulton County and Bethlehem because Fulton County is much improved and Bethlehem's always a tough team. So I think that their styles will match up and make a great game.
Of course, the Rockets are ranked number 7 again this week in the Class A Associated Press poll, and that other team that we're talking about is in our region, and we could possibly see them if we make it to the regional championship. That's Campbellsville, and they're number 5. Not much other change. There was a little flip-flopping going on with Raceland in the standings, but or in the rankings, but they've been pretty much the same since about the 3rd or 4th week of the season.
Yeah. That's consistency. As a coach, you want consistency.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the rankings, but, you know, we'll try to twist it.
And we're going to scroll while we're talking some of these other playoffs that people may be interested in around the region. But I know as a coach you don't want to look past this last regular season game. You want to be prepared. But it's hard not to talk about the playoffs right now. And a lot of people are asking me what's going to happen or who, you know, after the first round, what do we do? Of course, we have an opportunity, if we continue to win, to host the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. The third round, which would be the regional championship, would be on the road. If the other team in the regional championship is a #1 seed, as we would be. So that would mean we would go to Campbellsville because it's an even number year and they're in the even number district. That's the way that works. Yeah. So
anyone else we could
host that third round. But just looking at these pairings, I think most people would predict that it may come down to a Crittenden Campbellsville regional championship. But this week, Coach Courtney, we have South Hopkins. I say that all the time. South Hopkins. They used to be South Hopkins. Hopkins Central, the Storm. This is a team that they've only beaten us once in the series, but they got us a couple of years ago, and I know that still sticks in some people's craw. And last year we played them in the pouring rain. Hopefully this week we won't have another rain game. What's the plan to take on this offense?
They're an offense that likes to throw the ball around, maybe more than we see, and I think that's a good challenge for our defense this week because at times we've struggled in the pass game. It might not show the light, but especially watching the film, there's a lot of things that we can work on in the pass game, and I think this is a game we can get a lot of work and prepare for the playoffs. Not that we're looking that far or anything, but it's definitely be a good week for us to work on our pass game and getting to the quarterback and getting to the correct drops.
Thompson, we've had a slippery ball is what we've had the last 2 weeks, and it's been difficult to really get your offense into a rhythm. And then we're talking about more rain possible this week. What do you do? How do you prepare for this?
Just the same way that we do every week. We start the year early, making sure that we're prepared for any rain game. I feel like that, like I've said in the past, that when we practice that drill, we amplify it to a point to where they're prepared for a wet ball.
And that drill, tell us what that drill is. I know the kids have...
Well, we just basically line up and run a series of plays, and you got guys dumping coolers of water, and you got sprinklers going on them, and hoses in their faces, just over exaggerate. I mean, that'd be the worst case scenario of Mother Nature if it's ever happened in real life. But
the time we played Hopkins Central over there last year,
that was very close. That was very close, but it would be like standing under a waterfall when you're the center having a cooler dumped on you when you're snapping the ball, and as the quarterback being able to catch it when you're just getting water sprayed in your face. We practice that early, so we feel like that's something that they're used to and they're prepared for. So when these games happen, we just go at it just like we would. I don't go into a game saying I'm not going to throw the ball. Like at Russellville, we try to take our shots early before the balls got waterlogged. Started holding a lot of water, or their hands started getting wrinkled up and all that stuff to where it is difficult. So we took our shots early, and then after that you struggle, so then you lean heavily on the run. And then there's some other things that we can do within our offense to still be able to move the ball differently, and we need to be able to do that in games like that. But I'm a guy, I look at it, but I look at it more for the reason I don't want to stand out and get wet. I think they love it, but I don't look at it like, oh, we're not going to be able to do anything offensively this week. Because our goal is to go out and get the 350 every week, regardless of how it's done. And like last week in the rain, we were able to do that. So
a lot of people don't realize. I know you try to keep a dry ball in there, but people don't realize that ball does get heavier. It gains a lot of weight, makes it difficult to not only hold, but certainly to throw.
Yeah. And then catch it. When Hunter throws a ball now, I mean, it may not look like he throws it hard, but he puts it on you. So when that ball starts getting heavy and slick, it's difficult for the receivers to handle sometimes. And we've worked a lot on their timing and their feel for each other this week. And I feel like that this week we're going to go out and try to move the ball through the air a little bit.
Talk to me a little bit about the offensive line. It really performed well last week. Hunter had a lot of time, and those guys are really playing probably their best football right now, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. They're a group that they're just mean. They really are when you think about it. They're nice young men, but they get out there in the game and they're mean. They're after that roach. We've talked about roaches before. They're after that roach, and they want to protect Hunter. They want to be successful, and they play for each other. They're a unit, and in the past we may not have had a unit. We've had an offensive line before, but these guys want to be great as a group, and they communicate well, and they go out every play and give their all. And because of them, we've been successful offensively.
I was out at practice yesterday, and Brock Langston, they were working on some drills over with Coach Berry, and Brock was taking on all comers, and so they put Sean up against him. Sean O'Leary was pretty good about getting around somebody and getting to the quarterback, and they went at it pretty good, and I think maybe even got some tempers raised just a little bit. But, man, that's a good practice.
Yeah, definitely. Think about that, how good O'Leary is defensively to be able to go up against that every day in practice. Competition breeds success, and you're seeing that within our team because we had that depth so they can push each other.
Mm-hmm. Talk about some of these other guys we don't talk about a whole lot that are on the line. I know you got a freshman who's coming on playing really well, and Gibson. Just go down the line.
You got Dylan Yates that you're talking about, who stepped in and filled the role that we've lost losing Ian this year to the knee injury, and it took some time for him, but it takes any freshman. It took Ian time as a freshman to step up and be the Ellington that we know and have come to love. And what we've done is put Dylan in at guard as opposed to tackle, and he's thriving there. He
was Player of the Week last week.
Player of the Week, and it's just about being out there and being comfortable, and he's comfortable there, so we're getting everything out of him now, and we'll continue to see good things out of him. And you talk about Jake. Jake is Mr. Consistency on the line. He always does his job. He, for the most part, his footwork is always correct, and he just every play does what you ask him to do. So
Devin Porter's been a Player of the Week multiple times this year.
And I hate saying it this way, but he is the biggest surprise to me. We always talk as coaches. Me and Gaige talk numerous times. Who do you think's going to be that player this year that's a surprise? And for me, he's one of those guys this year, and I hate to say it because it almost sounds negative, but it's not. It's a guy. It could be a star player that just steps up, and does. And not saying that he's not a star, but just someone that you expect to do it. But he is a guy that's been a surprise to me because in the past he has not had the motor that he's had right now, and sometimes it takes longer for it to click in some kids. But I'm so happy it's clicked in him because he's one of our best linemen up front. He's a guy that you don't want to go against on a defensive line. So, and
sometimes just being a senior makes a big difference. And at that other tackle spot,
Riley Gobin, he's been the guy that stepped up from the beginning for us, and he's grown this year a lot. So him being a junior and we get him back next year is big because there's so many seniors on that line this year. So a guy who got in there and got a lot of experience and really played good football for us, and we get him back is definitely a positive.
We mentioned Sean O'Leary. What a blessing he is for a defensive coordinator, huh, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely. He gets after the passer. Great get off. And Sean's a guy that can come in that category, like he talked about, that was a really good player for us last year.
And just elevated his game.
Step, and it's every week I'll look at the film, and it's just a different guy. And that's what it takes to be a good player, good defense, whatever you're doing, just getting better each and every week. And Sean's the guy that's did that, I believe, close to a lot of records. And
he's got the career sack record and the single season sack record. And I know he aspires to play college football. And man, the way he's playing right now, certainly he's getting some people to look at him.
Yeah, he definitely a guy that's going to have an opportunity as long as he continues to do what he's doing, and I think that he'll have an opportunity. He's been on some visits, and I've talked to some coaches that are very interested in him because of the upside that he has. You think about him, he's a multi-sport athlete, and he's got the body he has. Right. What happens when he gets in the weight room,
right.
Where he really focuses in on football. And then you think how fast he is. He's going to get bigger. He's going to get stronger. He's going to get faster. And who knows what he does one day.
His mother was quite an athlete, too. Played college basketball down at PCC when PCC was community college. And she holds a couple of records in track, in the shot put and the discus. And I know you would like to mention that you also hold one of those track records.
Why did you make it out like I wanted to say
You always tell me that when I bring this up.
I'm just saying, me and her.
Speaking of records, let's move right into the trivia question of the week. This week, our question is, and remember now, you get a free round of golf on this down at, you're trying to look at my answers, aren't you? A free round of golf down at Deer Lakes. That's a green fee and a cart. And go out to H&H if you have the right answer. That's H&H Supply out on South Main Street. So here's the question, and we're going to scroll it on the bottom of the screen. This season, 2 Crittenden County players have rushed for at least 170 yards in a game, and we know who they are. That would be Devin Nesbitt and Xander Tabor. In what season or seasons have 3 different players rushed for at least 170 yards in a game? Name those seasons and name those 3 players in each season. Now, wouldn't you like to have 3 guys that can rush for nearly 200 yards?
We do.
We do. All right, and we may see that. That's what you're saying.
We do.
All right,
we have that.
We probably have 4 or 5 if we give them the ball.
We do.
If we can find enough carries to get them the ball. Also, I want to mention that last week, the answer to last week's trivia question, one of our routine guys won it last week. I can't remember exactly which one, but one of them, one is either Dempsey or Dickerson.
It must have been an easy question.
So last week, we're going to scroll this one, was named the only 2 players to rush for at least 1,000 yards, record 100 tackles, and score at least 100 points in the same season. And the answer was David Beverly in 1996 and Blake Gardner in 2005. So those are our trivia questions. And if you know the answer to that first one, go out to H&H and talk to those folks, tell them the right answer, and you'll get a free round of golf. All right, now we want to talk a little bit about Little League football. Coach Thompson, I know your son's one of the star players on that undefeated 3rd and 4th grade football team. You cringe a little bit, but he is. He's the quarterback. And great season for those guys. And we have a segment that we're going to have on now right after we get done with the coaches show here. And it's going to be interesting. We're going to go out to the football field and enjoy a little bit of practice and hear from some of those young players. They idolize the Rockets. Yeah. And we're going to hear some of their stories, some of their favorite players, hear from the coaches. But it's just great to have that. It's now under the whole system is under the quarterback club. You have flag football, and then you have Little League football. And it brings it right into middle school. Makes a very cohesive program.
Yeah, it makes it a program, period. You know, we have complete control over what we're doing from top to bottom, so the kids hear the same thing all the way through. And as long as we all stay in line and bought into what we're doing, then we should be successful for years to come. And they're exciting to watch. You know, both age groups I love watching. You know, like I like watching them score because I'm an offensive guy. I don't really do much with what he does. But don't be like that, please. But
I like it when both of you are on the show because it's looser. You know,
well, I don't even know. The looseness, what he does is he picks at me, and you can't hear him because he's got that deep voice, so you can't hear what he's saying in my ear, and I don't appreciate it. But just know that he is the person who makes it bad.
Well, even though they may bicker a little bit here, they work pretty good on the sidelines. I have a pretty good view of that every Friday night, and during the week I go out to practice quite a bit, and it's really been enjoyable for me. You know, I've been around Rocket football for a long time, and to see a team, a program to go through a major change, like losing a guy who'd been here 27 years as a coach, and to never miss a beat. I mean, these guys have taken right over, and we've rolled right through. Clearly, by being 8-1, and we're looking to go 9-1 this week and tie a school record, and we're really excited to be out at Rocket Stadium on Friday night. But first, let's go out to the Little League football field. They practice out Marion Crittenden County Park, and let's hear from those guys.
Get it, Brody. Get it, Brody. Oh.
Each one of these guys, you'll probably see them on the sidelines on a Friday night at a home game. They all idolize the Rockets. Each one of them probably has their favorite player, just like I did.
My name is Caden Travis. My favorite Rocket is Hunter Boone. He's my favorite because he throws a lot of touchdowns.
Typically we have multiple guys come out here each week off the high school team, and we get them to jump in and help coach, and if they see something, believe it or not, these kids listen to those high school players a lot more than they do me or Coach Joey Rich.
My name is Gunnar Top. My favorite Rocket football player is Tyler Boone because he plays middle linebacker like me.
Hi, my name is Chase Conyer, and my favorite player is Brock Langston.
We're out here, we practice Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 6 to 8. And our games are on Saturdays. It's not just the game, it's an opportunity to show the hard work that they put in. And these guys put in a lot of hard work.
My name is Quinn Sobers, and my two favorite high school Rocket players are Ethan Dawsett and Tyler Boone. I just like how they work hard, and they're leaders, and they work really hard at it.
We basically are doing the same thing that the high school team is doing. We're trying to start them at this young age. That way when they get to high school, they know it.
My name is Trenton Bill, and I like Devin Nesbitt because he gets touchdowns a lot.
We just clinched the regular season title in 3rd and 4th grade Saturday, beating Caldwell.
My name is Isaac James, and my favorite Rocket is Peyton Riley because he has good hands.
Well, you look down there, we got 2nd graders all the way through 6th graders going, and it's just a healthy state of Crittenden County Rocket football.
Devin Nesbitt is my favorite Rocket because he runs the football really good.
All right, break it down.
My favorite Rocket football player is Gavin Dickerson. Oh, because he taught us in football camp.
We've got 4 ex-players out here coaching. Of course, I'm the oldest one.